You know what we do? We highlight the Karens of the world because Karens are dangerous. Let me just say this for the record. If you lose your cell phone, the nearest black man did not do it. Let's start there, okay? There's a Walmart in California. A woman was there with her son. This woman falsely accuses a black man of stealing her son's phone at this Walmart. Here's the video.
Okay, everybody watching, this lady on the phone. She accused me of stealing her son's phone. Followed me outside the store. First she was eyeing me in the store. As soon as her son happened to lose her phone, I guess I was around looking for blinds and she started looking at me. And I know I'm black with tattoos, so she automatically assumed I had it. She said the location says it's me. I have no her son's phone, but she's followed me outside of Walmart. I'm here in Moreno Valley. She came looking for a location, but it's right by my car. She runs up to me and says, "Excuse me, you have my son's phone?" I pull my phone out and tell her I do not, as well as my money and my ID, and tell her who I am and I do not steal. And she continues. She's holding me. The only reason I'm not leaving is because I don't have a phone. You understand I'm waiting, right? Because you're wrong.
Then let's fix this. We'll wait until the police are here. You decide it yourself.
The phone should be following us, right? Right? Her son found the phone. Her son found it, though. It was in the car. Her son found it in the car. So now I'm going to press charges. Ma'am, may I have your name, please? May I have your name, please, ma'am?
No.
Okay, that's okay. I'll get your license plate.
What a horrible example she's setting for her son. She made a mistake. She racially profiled, obviously. According to the narrative, 9 other people were in that same vicinity. She did not blame them. She did, in fact, blame the one black guy with tattoos. Remember, these Karens are not afraid of black men. Never believe that. None of these Karens have shown any fear when there's a black man, unless they're playing like they are afraid for the sake of a 911 call. So let's dig a little deeper into what happened here. A video of a woman racially profiling a black man and accusing him of stealing her son's cell phone at Walmart, only to realize that her son had forgotten his phone in the car, is being widely circulated on social media. On Monday, Yashir Bryant posted the video on Facebook and YouTube saying he was shopping at a Moreno Valley Walmart when the woman started accusing him of stealing her son's phone. Now, Bryant explained some things, and I'm glad he did. So Bryant explains the woman and her son were in the same aisle as him when he overheard the woman questioning her son about the whereabouts of his phone. Bryant added that there were 9 other people around, but accused him of the theft because he was the only black man with tattoos. Okay, now who is this woman? Who is she? Well, according to the undefeated internet, her name is Liz. Liz, according to the internet, works at Kaiser. She was wearing a shirt that is typically worn by those who work at Kaiser. This was brought to the attention of the company, and here's what the company said via Twitter. "Thank you for sharing this. This video has been brought to our attention and we are actively investigating it. The conduct in this video does not in any way reflect the views or beliefs of Kaiser Permanente," the company said in a tweet posted as a reply to the video on Twitter. Sounds like an admission she works there to me. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
I couldn't help but notice just kind of how powerless he was in that moment. And as he went for help inside the Walmart, there was a woman working the door. He even tried to have her mediate and hear out his side of the story and help keep this woman at bay, maybe talk her down. And she immediately sympathized with the woman. She was telling him to calm down and to leave eventually. I would assume for censorship reasons, you didn't play the end of the clip where she turned around and said something to go F off. After she falsely accused him, refused to apologize, scolded her son as if it was his fault. She was just placing blame everywhere but herself. And while she seemed to be Latina, but she is very easily white passing. So she has an element of like kind of white womanhood in her. And like you just said, they're not really scared of black men, especially when, they have the power of the state behind them. She's very quickly calling 911 on this false premise. I could have ended this guy's life had things gone awry. Thankfully, the kid found it. We could have had a much more tragic outcome, as we've seen so many times, and as you've talked about so many times on your show. These types of things can very quickly escalate because of how the police and society in general perceives, especially black men, as you said, with tattoos. So it's really, really troubling, and I can't help but sympathize with this guy. He acted calm, and even still, people were dismissive of his complaints.
Yeah, I mean, his composure was actually quite remarkable, given the fact that she started to literally follow him, and not from a distance. She was following him like they were a couple. I mean, she was just that close, as if they were walking together. He had the brilliance to know, I need to pull out my cell phone. I need to start recording. And let me tell you why people do this now, especially black men. Because we understand the power now of documentation like we never have before, okay? If something goes south, if somebody tries to arrest him, if somebody tries to detain him, if somebody tries to attack him because they think he's doing something adversarial to this particular woman, then he has some documentation that is not happening. We should not live in a society like that. That should not be the norm. That should be the anomaly. That should be every now and then that needs to happen. This has now become normative, especially for black and brown individuals when they are facing senseless and ridiculous and baseless allegations about their own behavior. It is quite insane. The other part is that when it got exposed, and this is why she made the show, okay? Because when I looked at the video, Jordan, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna put on the show if she apologizes for making a mistake. I won't put on the show. She would not be a Karen on my program. But she decided to not only double down, she started talking trash to her son about the guy standing next to her. And then she insults him as she's walking off, setting not only a horrible example, but showing that she is so dismissive of his very humanity and dignity that she's not willing to simply say to this young black male, I was wrong and I am sorry. Even if you gotta bite your tongue and swallow your pride, you do it for the sake of your child because you want your child to be a decent individual. What you just taught your child, you would never want your child to do to you. You would never want your child to make a mistake, to do something wrong, and to never own up to it. But that's what you're teaching your child in that very moment at that Walmart. That young man would never forget that his mother decided not to do the right thing in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're collective actions. Him misplacing the phone and her, false accusation. Neither of them were held accountable for it. Neither of them apologized. They stormed off, told this guy to F off, and that's it. That's the lesson this kid's gonna take into life. It's like this guy's life ultimately, like again, he could have had a pretty tragic outcome had the police shown up. Had this gone awry, I mean, it's somehow his fault. So reducing this innocent man to a subhuman level was ultimately what she taught her son. And that's how hate perpetuates. That's how racism and bigotry perpetuates.
That's right, that's right. It's definitely chain behavior. It's connected somehow, somewhere. It is learned, you're not born with it, but this is how you learn it. That's what you saw in this exchange. You saw the teaching, the apprenticeship of bigotry, racism, and no accountability being taught in that moment.